make it or break it in Dallas. Well, make it or break it in Santa Clara, California, when the Cowboys travel to Levi Stadium once again to play the San Francisco 49ers. A team that has haunted Dak Prescott and the Cowboys for years now, dating all the way back to 2021. So let's talk about this matchup and answer the biggest question of all: do the Cowboys even have a chance? Surprisingly, the Cowboys have played their best football of the season on the road. Granted, the opponents haven't been phenomenal, but they have gotten all 3 of their wins on the road to start the year. Now, facing the 49ers, this is a different beast compared to Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and the Giants. But it isn't quite the beast that it's been in years past. Injuries on both sides are starting to pile up. For the 49ers, they will be without Christian McCaffrey, much like they have for the entirety of this season already. Kyle Shanahan said he would be surprised if McCaffrey played. With the 49ers having a bye after this game, a lot of these guys could be held out simply because they would have 2 weeks to get healthy and be ready for week 10. At wide receiver, the 49ers are going to be without Brandon Ayuk. He tore his ACL in the Chiefs game and will miss the remainder of the season. And while Ayuk hadn't had the best season up to this point, that is a huge, huge loss for this team. Wide receiver Juwan Jennings is questionable with a hip injury. He missed last week's game. And now without Brandon Ayuk, it's going to be important if he does or doesn't go. When Juwan Jennings was asked to step up a couple of weeks ago, he really balled out. So that's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on as the week continues. Like I said, 49ers have a bye coming up, and if the team's not really sure on his status, they might hold him out. Wide receiver Chris Conley is questionable with an ankle injury. Tight end George Kittle is questionable with a foot. And the 49ers have already ruled out Jake Moody, their kicker, with an ankle injury. Needless to say, this isn't the juggernaut that we've seen in years past where they could just dice you up any way that they wanted to. They would run CMC, they'd throw to Kittle, Ayuk on a slant, Debo on a reverse. That was a scary, scary offense. And it actually just reminded me, Debo missed pretty much all of the Chiefs game with a illness. It was reported that he has pneumonia, and if that's true, then I could see him missing this game as well. That's not something that you just kind of get over and play on Sunday. So that's a guy that we'll have to keep an eye on as well. But overall, that was a scary, scary offense, and with the injuries mounting for this team, it's not quite the same. But it's still the 49ers. They can still beat you. And they're still favored to win this game by 4.5 points on BETUS, our sponsor for today's video. The home team typically gets 3 points because they are the home team, so look at it like a 1.5 point favorite for the 49ers. With BETUS, though, they have much more than just football, basketball, baseball, hockey, tennis, even surfing. I mean, you name it, BETUS has it. But we all really like football around here, and they have NFL futures like the Super Bowl winner, conference winners, division winners, playoff specials, all of those fun future odds. They have you covered. The possibilities really are endless with BETUS. If you sign up today, you'll get a 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next 2. So go check out BETUS where the game begins. For the Cowboys, they aren't the same team either from those playoff losses. Micah Parsons is questionable with an ankle injury, and Jerry Jones said on the radio this morning that Parsons and Bland are likely going to be game time decisions when it comes down to it. We thought there was a possibility that Bland would go before the bye week, and him being a game time decision kind of makes me think there was a little bit of a setback with his injury. But both of those guys, we're really going to have to look at, are they practicing on Thursday and Friday? Are they at least limited? Because if they're limited, they have a chance. But if they're not practicing all week or they're missing Friday, much like Bland did right before the Lions game, then there's a good chance that they miss this game. Other players questionable are Eric Kendricks and Kalen Carson. Honestly, I have no idea what's going on with Kalen Carson. I mean, he was hurt in week 2 and he just hasn't played since. The Cowboys didn't put him on IR. It didn't seem serious at the time. He's been questionable every single week to play, yet he hasn't played. So, kind of need to keep an eye on that. Being a young guy, you would think he would kind of get back quicker, but the fact that DaRon Bland is almost back from his injury and Kalen Carson's still struggling to get on the field, that is pretty worrisome. And of course, really quick, the Cowboys still have, Marshawn Nealon, DeMarcus Lawrence, Brandon Cooks, Jordan Phillips, Chuma Edoga. All of those guys are still on injured reserve and will miss this week. Now let's get into my 5 keys to victory. This week, we came up with some unique names for our 5 keys to victory, so let's talk about those. Key number 1, grounded and pounded, which means stop the run, all right? I could make this every single key to this game because, well, the 49ers like to run the ball and the Cowboys do not do a good job of stopping the run. I mean, they had good games against Pittsburgh and New York, but the 49ers run scheme is a completely different animal. The Niners and Brock Purdy, their air attack has struggled against man coverage this year, and we'll talk about that more later in the video, but I would load up with 8 men in the box and play man on the outside. I would sell out completely to stop the run. I am making Purdy and those receivers beat me consistently. If he does, if he smokes you, oh well. Great job, Brock Purdy. We'll go home and say we got beat by a better quarterback. But we can't go home like we have so many times already this year, knowing that this team cannot stop the run. Once again, I am begging the Cowboys to sell out, stop the run, make the quarterback beat you. If they can do that, they have a chance. If they can't do that, it could get ugly pretty quick. Let's go on to key number 2. Your quarterback has to be Dak Dude. Dat Dude.
You can get it.
This is a quarterback game, just like I mentioned with Brock Purdy. Dak has to play well. He's had some letdown games against San Francisco, hasn't played particularly well. So far this season, he has turned the football over more than you would like to see from your starting and franchise quarterback. He needs to get in there, be the catalyst for this team playing well, make good decisions, make your receivers better, and win this football game. Key number 3, 7 points is better than 3 points. The Cowboys are one of the worst red zone offenses in football, and you don't need any statistics to tell you that. It's as simple as being better in the red zone. Scoring 7 points is a hell of a lot better than scoring 3 points, something that Dallas has done way too much this year. Cut down on the penalties in the red zone, cut down on the interceptions, the bad decisions, the bad play calling from Mike McCarthy, and this really goes hand in hand with Dak playing well, not turning the ball over, and just overall having a decent day in the red zone and giving your defense a chance. Key number 4, puzzle Purdy. Steve Spagnuolo did a great job against San Francisco last week in disguising his coverages, mixing and matching his looks, and there were times that you could tell Purdy was confused by the Chiefs' defense. Now, the Cowboys don't have that level of players and that level of coaching, but they really need to take into account what the Chiefs were able to do. With Bland hopefully back in the lineup, or at least Kalen Carson, I feel better about the corners on an island, mainly because the 49ers are pretty void of talent on the outside right now. They have no Brandon Ayuk, and they're going to be leaning on a rookie wide receiver in Ricky Pearsall. I mentioned that George Kittle was questionable. I haven't seen anything that would possibly rule him out for this game, but I'm taking my chances against those receivers, and I'm blitzing, I'm dialing up pressure, I'm sending Overshown on a blitz. Throw the kitchen sink at this offense. Force Purdy to read and react to all of the moving pieces you have on defense, while also trusting your corners, and hopefully that's Bland, Diggs, and Carson, to hold up in coverage by themselves. It might get you killed, but I think there's a better chance that it doesn't, and it's how you stop this offense and win the game. For our 5th key, we're going to talk about another offense that has struggled a bit, particularly struggled with their wide receivers in the passing game. Key number 5 is create space in this offense. And when I say it, I mean this for both Mike McCarthy scheming guys open and also for the receivers just beating the man in front of them. This offense has had no space to breathe this year. Every throw is a tight window throw. Literally, Dak leads the league in tight window throws. Mike McCarthy, the wide receivers, they got to find ways to create space. Let Dak hit the easy button. Whatever you got to do, motion guys across, bunch up those wide receivers, use pick plays on short to go situations. Hell, overload one side of the field with drag routes and dig routes, and let CD work on the opposite side by himself. Just create space. This offense needs it so bad, whether that's winning your one-on-one matchups or that's Mike McCarthy making a concerted effort to help his wide receivers. It's been a bad combination of both this year. Those two things are going to go hand in hand. Let this offense breathe just a little bit. So that is our 5 keys to victory. And the question is, can the Cowboys win this game? Is there a chance that the Cowboys win this game? And I will say yes, there's a chance, especially with all of the injuries that the 49ers have. While Dallas has a lot of injuries themselves, they're not facing the Detroit Lions, who were completely healthy, pretty much had nobody on the injury report going into that game. So yes, Dallas could win, cover that 4.5 points, but will they do it? You guys let me know down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching the video. I love you all, and I'll see you back later this week. Bye.